10 times what you had before you came into office.
The commissioners used to have to pay for the toiletries, for the uniforms, for the bedding. I buy all of that strictly
Translates,
out of,
taxpayers had to pay for it.
yeah, well, the commissioners had to give it out of the budget.
Exactly.
So they, and there was never, well, no, you can't have clean uniforms for your inmates, or you can't have the toothbrushes, or we call them an indigent pack, with the soaps and all of those kind of things that you have to provide, the deodorants, and for the females, the necessary feminine products that they need. But we pay for all this at no cost to the taxpayers, the inmates do, because of a well-managed commissary account. $400,000. Working with the county auditor, we've done some security things that have been to the benefit of the inmate, because it protects them as much as it protects our officers, and that's money that I'd had to pass through to the taxpayers. So it's huge. It's great. It's wonderful that we've got that money. We're making money off. We field over 3,000 meals a day out of that facility, and the price that we had when I came in versus the price we have now is probably about 12 cents a meal different than what it was when I came in. Lower
Because of the contractor you're working with also.
Yes, and that 12 cents difference, when you figure we're feeding more than 3,000 meals a day in there, times 365 days. That's a lot of money that is
Absolutely.
That's back to the benefit of our taxpayers. The other thing that we've done, and I don't think our folks even aware of this. They know we got a private detention center here that's run by the feds, or it's run by a private industry, a private prison group. But this Louisiana Corrections Corporation,
LCS out there,
LCS.
Coastal Bend Detention Center is one of them.
We had 750 people out there that are paying New Aces County
and
to be housed out there that don't cost us. We don't pay a dime. We just get for allowing them to work and make profit, housing these federal inmates, and they're detained. They're somewhere between this twilight. They're either awaiting court or they are awaiting shipment to a penitentiary. But that helps offset the general revenue when you can bring those dollars in. Now the big secret is that we also inherited, when I took over as sheriff, the property down near McAllen called La Villa. And there is a detention center down there. Joe, that check that we get annually from La Villa is $700,000.
Oh my goodness, and we didn't have to pay out.
We've done nothing.
But actually you've done a great service.
Oversight.
Exactly.
I have to send people down there. The marshals require it. The marshals don't work with private facilities. They only work with sheriffs. And I can spill over into the private sector as much as I want to.
And LCS isn't, doing too shabby. I mean, the privatization of prisons has been lucrative.
Credit due, the previous sheriff and the previous staff and some other people worked very hard to get LCS to come into New Aces County. That's right. It wasn't Jim Kaelin. I didn't do it. I'm the recipient of what that eventually is going to turn out to be.
But you've really capitalized on it. Yeah.
Well, and they've threatened to pull their folks out, because in starting up a new facility like that, there's been a lot of growing startup pains. And those federal judges over there, if you're not on target with the inmates' medications, they get very, very upset.
And as a federal practitioner, I've seen it.
A very low tolerance that an inmate comes in there and says, I'm not getting my medications, and the facility doesn't have a good reason for not providing it. But anyway, $700,000 there, and this is coming online. They're talking about, well, this is already online, the Coastal Bend Detention Facility. It's producing money, and we're going to, the county is fixing to expand. We've got a pod out at the annex that lies dormant. It was built there to house juveniles. And anyway, that is not in existence anymore, but in my discussions with the county judge and the commissioners, they said we're going to reopen that. It's called a pod. It'll house 48 additional inmates. We're going to put some federal inmates into that facility, which actually are revenue inmates. And then we'll also have about additional 25 beds for county inmates, which is going to be a good balance. And again, it's going to help us alleviate some of the overcrowding. It's a Band-Aid to a major problem. We got to get a grip on the drug thing, And I don't know without some help from the state, without some help from the feds, that that we're going to be able to do any more than we're doing now, because your tax dollars it's a limited resource.
Well, and I want to thank you for coming on, and I want you to come on again. I wish we had 2 hours. It flew by. We covered some really good ground. I'd like for you to come on again, because, it's such a vital issue. And especially you're poised here to educate Nueces County and the outlying areas. And this will be on YouTube, Facebook. I know you're a big fan of Facebook too. We'll have it on there for you so people can learn more about our sheriff and what we're doing on crime and punishment. But I want to thank you for coming on. This hour has flown by. I really appreciate you coming on and educating the taxpayer and those that have families in the jail. Provide them at least some measure of comfort that they are being treated humanely and with dignity. And I know you've got any last comments, any last words before we sign off?
Anybody feels that they've got an issue with their loved one in the county jail, they're to call me.
All right, and how can they reach you there? What's the main number?
My telephone number is area code 361-887-2225. And now my office staff will pick up on that phone, but just tell them that you want to speak to the sheriff, and I return my phone calls.
Sheriff Jim Kaelin, Sheriff of Nueces County, thank you for coming by South Texas Crossfire.
Glad to be here.
Our time has flown by. Thank you, and God bless.